Welcome to the Scott Horman Podcast. I'm Scott Horman, and after spending decades as a player, coach, and mentor, I've learned that the greatest lessons in baseball have very little to do with batting averages, earned run averages, or championships. They have everything to do with character, leadership, perseverance, faith, and becoming the kind of person other players want to follow. Each week, we'll have an honest conversation about baseball, high school sports in general, coaching, parenting, player development, recruiting, and the moments that shape young athletes long after the final out. Because at the end of the day, trophies collect dust, character lasts forever. Welcome to the Scott Horman Podcast. Welcome to the Scott Horman Podcast. I'm Scott Horman, and I am very lucky to have Bethany Lutheran College head baseball coach Ryan Kragh with us today. Ryan, thanks for being with us. Appreciate your time. I know you're getting ready to go on a trip, so thanks for taking the time out to talk to me.
Yeah, thank you very much. When I saw you were kind of going in a new avenue, I was kind of excited to see what kind of content you put out there because I know what kind of person you are, and I'm excited to be here, my man.
Well, I appreciate it. And you and I have we've talked a ton over the years, especially the last couple. You love the Colorado baseball kids and you get them in there and they enjoy being there. Talk to me a little bit, real quick about how baseball became your passion. Because obviously that's my passion too, but how did it become yours?
That's a good question. I mean, I was a multi-sport kid growing up, and a lot of people I had more offers to play basketball and tennis than I did baseball in college. But I followed my Legion baseball coach, Kelvin Ziegler. I had committed to a Division I, and then when he got the job, at a University of North Dakota, I just wanted to be by him. He was kind of a father figure for me. So I went there, played. The more you start playing, the more you start being around guys, and then you take on a leadership role. And I was like, you know what, this is something I think I could do for the rest of my life. And that's kind of how it started. He gave me my first gig as a pitching coach at the University of North Dakota after a little stint in pro ball where I got hurt multiple times, and kind of the rest is history, and it's been one of those things where it's a journey. And what I try to tell parents and what I tell people is I get to hang out with 18 to 22-year-old kids, and sometimes they're idiots and sometimes they're ready to go right away. But that's the cool part is you get to see them mature. You get to see them get married. You get to see them have kids, all that type of stuff. I'm actually marrying one of our kids next week. So it's a cool journey, but I wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah, and I would call you, and you're kind of old school and new school kind of mixed together. You've evolved over your career. Back when you first started, it was very different than it is now. Obviously, it almost changes yearly now. But talk to me how you evolved over the years and how things kind of started for you. Were you one of those hardcore coaches that these are the rules? This is this, and how did it evolve over those years? Because every player that I've talked to that has come and played for you, has enjoyed their time for you, has felt like you're a mentor, has felt like you've cared, and has felt like you did more for them as a person than you did as a baseball player. So talk to me about how that evolution happened, because it happened with me. I was a hardcore coach when I first started. I was these are the rules, don't you break them. I mean, it was crazy. And then over the years, obviously, as you get to know kids and you get to be able to be around kids more, you kind of evolve. So talk to me about your evolution.
Yeah, that's a great question. We were just having that conversation on the golf course yesterday. I used to be hard-nosed, scream and yell and stupid rules and hair rules and hat rules. And I don't know when it evolved. I think my current wife, Beverly, I think she had a lot to do with just calming me and different things and just learning that some of that stuff doesn't work like you think it does. And I'm a completely different coach. Like Danny Nealand, who is my assistant coach, he coaches the Moondogs, and he can tell you because he played for me. And I get a little worried sometimes because I see the old Coach Kragh in him. And sometimes I have to tone him back and be like, hey, Danny, that's, and so it's evolving. I think I just took on the role of I want to be the biggest mentor for these student athletes that I possibly can. And it has nothing to do with baseball. And I say that to families all the time. if we get the right humans and we take care of them and we love them and we treat them the way we should be treating them, we'll win baseball games.
Yep.
I don't think you need the best players. I mean, I think a perfect example is last year with our run. I mean, like we just had a lot of really good humans that loved each other, that knew that they were supported by our staff, and I've kind of just taken that and ran with it. Like I everything I do, and I'm sure Clint Hurdle very well too. Like
Yes.
every time, I love collecting coins. And that's one of his big things. And I've talked to him a couple times about it. And I tell our coaches literally every week, like, collect as many coins as you possibly can from these kids. And we just try to do that. And like I said, it's evolved for me. It's still evolving for me. I'm not saying I don't ever yell or scream, but I consider myself a big time players coach that I love the crap out of every single one of these kids. And that was not the case early in my career. And I think it's shown. It's shown a lot. But I think you and I are probably a lot. I know when I talk to some of your former players that are now my former players, they said the same thing. Like I think we're two peas in a pod, and it's been fun to evolve. It's been fun to change. It's I read some stuff on Brene Brown. Being vulnerable is a big thing, and I think that's hard for dudes, right? Like we don't want to be vulnerable. Yeah. We're tough, and so that's been a huge part, and I'm still working on it, but it's paid off because our kids know that we believe in them and we love them.
Yeah, and I think that's such a key to coaching these days because kids, they have so much going on in their lives, like so much, like between school, baseball, and the social media aspect of things, and trying to outdo their other guys because that guy's got 1,000 views this today or something like that. It's crazy the things you were dealing with in today's world, and that leads me right into something that's like, tell me, what did your program look like when you first got there at Bethany? Like, you've been there 22 years, correct? Going on 23?
I think it's 25, Scott.
Oh gosh, 25. Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. I started in 2002, so I guess we could do the math. It's going to be 25.
Yeah, 25 years. That's wow. A head coach being at one school for 25 years, it doesn't happen any longer, right? Like, no. And I'm sure over the years you've gotten offers to go other places and things like that. But obviously you're comfortable at Bethany's. So what did your program look like when you first got there?
Yeah, I mean, one thing I will say is our program has always been very good. So when I first got there, we actually we went to the Super Regional. We were a junior college. So we were one game away from going to the College World Series. Both years I was an assistant. We lost to Iowa Central, which is one of the better junior colleges in the country. And we decided to make the jump to Division III. And obviously we took some lumps early with just, I think, and this, like, people think Division III is not very good, and they're completely wrong. But that jump was significant for us. And so, it took a little bit to get the right people in the room. And then, like you said, you evolve and like, okay, what kind of kids do I want? We chose the junior college route right away because we were a powerhouse junior college. So our name was out there. So like all the Midwest JUCO kids, they knew who we were because we were kicking the crap out of them, during the season. So that was my first sell. I really wanted to get good local kids. We have great baseball in Southern Minnesota. It's actually unbelievable. You go to these events now and you're seeing all these Big 12s, Big 10, Pac-12. You're seeing them all in our state now. So we started doing that. Started getting a bunch of junior college kids, and it just kind of stuck. And the one thing about Bethany is, like, we talk about family in our program, and you'll hear the word family for the next 30 minutes in this interview, but our campus is like that. Like, if you came on our campus right now, you'd feel like, man, I've lived here for 2 years, and so we kind of already had some things in place. And then, it's just evolved. And if you go to present day, which is now, I think a lot of people would agree with me, but our president, Gene Pfeiffer, has been a huge proponent for athletics. Like, he loves athletics. He wants to see them thrive. I mean, we just built a $20 million indoor facility that I don't think a lot of Division I's have. Our baseball field got voted the third nicest facility in the state of Minnesota, behind Target Field and CHS. This is where the AAA team plays. So there's just a lot of positives. And you talk about staying at one place for 25 years, and it's like, we have a great Bethany family, our community, the community of Mankato, our baseball program, like it's all one big family. So, what, and you're right. I have had other offers. I had another offer 2 weeks ago, but it's like, we have everything we need to be successful as a family here. And I don't see why I would ever want to leave that.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So you've got a culture there that when I talk to players, they love. But culture's talked about everywhere. What does culture actually mean inside your locker room at Bethany?
Yeah, you hit on a good point. Culture is talked about everywhere. Everybody says they have culture until you until you go there.
Yeah.
It's hard. It finally came to fruition last year. It's been really good for a lot of years, but to sit back and just watch what transpired last year with, like, hey, they finally believe in each other and they love each other and they take a bullet for each other. And we work on it a lot, man. Like we're meeting with our leaders. We don't call them captains. We call them leadership group. Some people call them captains, whatever. We just consider it a leadership group, and it's part of our coaching staff, to be honest. And they're in our office. We're going over things. We're going to do some book reading this year where we share a book with the captains and go over it. But we spend a lot of time, and they have a lot of vested interest in what the program looks like. Like, obviously we're making the key decisions, but they're making a lot of decisions that people don't see behind closed doors that make our program go. And I think once we started giving them some of that ownership in that, I think it's kind of just taken off. Like, they feel like they're a big part of it. The kids think they have a voice, or they feel like they have a voice, which they do. And it's just really worked, but it's hard. It's not something you just build overnight. I had a parent email me the other day of a kid that decided not to play again this year, or he's hanging it up. And he emailed me and he's like, coach, like you walk in your office, you see this big sign that says family. You talk about family multiple times. You talk about culture, you talk about all this stuff. And we're like, yeah, this guy's just a car salesman. He's, that's just his shtick. And he goes, this guy played Division I hockey and pro hockey. And he's like, I'd never seen something more true in my life. Like, and his kid had 3 at-bats last year. And it's like, my kid grew as a person. He grew as a student. He grew in his faith. He grew as a leader, even though he wasn't a leader. And those are the stories that I love to hear, because it shows that it's working. It shows that our kids are in a good spot. They're taken care of. They're loved. And that stuff honestly means more to me than all these rings and trophies and all these different awards. I would take emails like that every day.
Yeah, that's what coaching's all about, right? It's what everybody got into coaching for, but then it's a business, right? Like, it's a business. It's part of, it's what you do for a living. It's how you put food on the plate. And I don't think parents sometimes realize that, is that, look, when we all started coaching this, and I'm still in that position, right? Like, we don't do it for the money. You're not doing it for the money. There's a lot of people out there that could go out and make a lot more money doing a lot of other things, but this is their calling. This is what they're called to do. This is what God put them on the earth to do. And for us, guys like you and me, those kind of emails mean more than anything else. And like you said, I've been lucky enough. I've officiated a couple weddings in my life, and that there's nothing better than watching one of your players become a parent, or becoming a husband, a parent, and a great young man down the road, 10 years down the road, and you see them, and you see them being successful, and they say, Coach, we had such a great time when we played for you. That's what it's all about. So when you're going out on the road and you're starting to do, and you're going to watch players, and especially in today's day and age where social media, a player can turn himself into a superstar on social media, right? Like, you got to be careful with that. But what immediately catches your eye during recruiting when you're recruiting a player?
Athleticism. That's the biggest thing for us, and body language. I think those are probably the 2 big ones. We've kind of changed our recruiting. Like, we don't go after a corner outfielder. We don't go after a corner infielder. Obviously you're going to go after your pitchers and your catchers, and we know how that is now. Some of your position players end up being some of your better arms, but we just try to go after athletic kids. I mean, and Josh can tell you this, like, if you come watch our defensive practice, we got guys turning 2 up the middle, but it's our third baseman, it's our shortstop, it's our second baseman. They're commingled. They work together. I mean, So we want guys that can play as many different positions as possible. And again, body language is huge for me. I mean, it's, this is a game of failure. You're going to have ups and downs. It's going to punch you in the face a lot more than it's not. And how you deal with that. So that's the stuff that I look at. Like I look at kids that can kind of play all over. They can run, they can throw. They're having a good time. They're being a good teammate. That's the type of stuff I look for. I'm not one of those coaches where so-and-so threw his bat and I check him off the list, because you know what? Everybody has a bad day. Everybody has a lapse in judgment. That doesn't mean they're a bad kid. It doesn't mean they're a bad human. They just made a mistake. So,
and coach, the right situation for a player. I say this all the time. The same player with two different coaches is a different player.
Yeah.
Right. Like
you and I just talked about that the other day. I mean, you're right. Like it's, you gotta believe in these kids. Like you don't know what kind of background these kids come from. You don't know what their home life's like. You don't know what's going on. Like, you don't know what somebody could be dealing with, a lot of different things. So yeah, like I'm not one of those guys that's going to stop recruiting somebody just because of that. And it's funny, you sign a kid or whatever, and they're like, oh, that kid's, he does this, this, and this. And I was like, he won't do that stuff when he gets here. Like our culture, our family, our leadership group, they won't allow it. And
their
it's
expectations.
Funny. Yeah. There's standards, there's expectations. And I want to touch on standards a little bit at some point too, but it's like, we don't have to worry about it because these kids take care of it.
Let's go right into that. Let's go into your standards. Talk about your standards and talk about that's perfect segue, coach. Because it's one of my questions I was going to ask you. Like I told you this the other day about a player. I said, listen, if you believed in this player as much as I believed in him, he's going to be just fine for you. But what are your standards that you're looking for in a player?
Yeah, I mean, it's a crazy thing that I guess I took for granted last year. Like, we started out good and we were playing well. I mean, obviously we had a record breaking year, but we had a little, like, I wouldn't say a hiccup, but just probably like a love quarrel between your family. And one of the leadership group is like, well, what are the standards? And I looked at him like, you've got to be kidding me. Like, that's all we talk about. Like we talk about, and some of the kids didn't really understand what they all were. So I said, well, then we need to get together. So we got them in the locker room and they put them up on the wall, and they went through them. And I swear after that meeting, I mean, we just went on a heater. It was crazy because, and it was weird to me. And it's like, did I miss this? Like we talk about it all the time. And I'm big on like the standard is a standard, knowing that I thought that they knew it and they didn't. And so that was something new for me to kind of deal with later on in the year, of like, to just make sure to remind them of what those look like. And I won't go into detail about all of them, but like, being on time, being a good human, being a good student, hard 90s. There's all kinds of different ones. Some of them, they like to keep personal. But it was just so crazy to not realize that they didn't know exactly what that meant until we kind of had a refresher meeting, and it was like a light bulb went off and they're like, okay, I'm going to go run through a wall, so that was kind of cool. Some of them had some of the standards on their wristband, and some of them had them. I mean, they carried them. It was just a really cool thing.
Yeah. I mean, and again, I think all teams have standards, all team implement standards, but all teams don't always understand that their players understand it and are implementing them on a daily basis, right? Like, because one of the things about being a great baseball player, it's an everyday thing, right? Like we know, we probably say that to our kids all the time. It's an everyday thing. Your habits, what you do off the field, your sleep, what you're eating, your mentality, all those things are part of what makes you the baseball player that you are, correct? So when you're talking about life and you're, with a recruit and you're telling them all these things, we talk about, you talk to the players all the time, but what advice would you give parents during the recruiting process? Because, a lot of them, you deal with it, their kids going through it for the first time, and they're going through it for the first time. What mistakes can be avoided, and what things can you do as a parent to help your kid through the process? Because look, I don't know about you, but most 18, 19-year-old young men really don't know what they want yet, right? Like, right? Like they don't know what they don't know. And I talk with kids all the time in the recruiting circles and try to get them to understand. In fact, a young man that, you just got, he had a lot of coaches pulling him in different ways, kind of dragging on. Things were dragging on. He knew that your place was kind of a great place to go. He might want him to stay closer to home a little bit and everything, but ultimately your place was the best fit for him. So what do you give advice? What kind of advice do you give to those parents? Because I know you deal with them all the time, and, especially during the recruiting process.
Yeah, the first time parents are my favorite, and I'm willing to help those first time parents. And I tell those parents that, even if you don't come to us, if you have questions, let me know, because it's stressful. We've all had kids, we went through it. It's a stressful, it's probably, I shouldn't say probably, it is the most important life. And so one of those is where I try to tell every person that comes in my office, at the end of the day, go where your heart tells you to go. Too many kids go for shiny things, good looking girls in the cafeteria, a party school, a really good baseball program. Go where your heart tells you to go, where you can feel like you're loved. You're going to be taken care of academically. You're going to be taken care of athletically, and you're going to be taken care of socially. And if you can answer those three questions honestly, you're in a good spot.
I tell them, you want to go somewhere where academics is just as important as the baseball, and you get the opportunity to grow off the field as much as you can on. Talk to me about what you do off the field for players.
A lot. We do community service. We do I think we've won the national award for 8 straight years for the academic award. I think you have to have over a 3.3, which doesn't seem like it's that great for a baseball team. But when you start getting 50 guys, that's a really good, I think we had 19 all conference kids this year, which you have to have a 3.5. And out of those 19, 7 of them were 4.0. So it's a big part of what we're doing. It's a big part of what we talk about. And so it's all part of the whole process of what you're looking for. And, I think parents sometimes chase money. They chase scholarships, and this as well as I do. The kids that we're recruiting, I'm not recruiting a Division I kid. I mean, I'm not an idiot. But we are recruiting a lot of Division II, your fringe Division II kids, and we lose a lot of kids to $1,000.
Wow.
And you have to tell these parents, is this experience worth that $1,000 scholarship you just got? Because it's basically going to pay for 2 science books. And I'm not saying it's Division II, Division I, they're all awesome, and but it's when we're trying to recruit that kid, it's you have to look at the whole big picture. Is it the money? Is it you have to look at the community you're in and the family atmosphere you're in and the academic piece you're in. And if you can, what we try to tell all of our kids to do and our parents is only visit 3 to 5 schools that you truly can see your body being at. A big problem with a lot of parents is oh yeah, we just took our 11th visit. Well, that's not good. And
they have no idea at that point, do they?
No, and the parents don't. It's not good for the parents because now they're taking off work. Not every parent has 11 days to take off. And so we just really try to say, hey, take 3 to 5 visits, maybe a public school, a private school, a junior college, a school where you just might go to school, and then maybe a school that's kind of your dream school. And then that's where you go. And then at the end of the day, do a pros and cons of what worked well, what didn't. And I told you before, go where your heart will never lie. Anything we deal with, whether it's our wife, our first girlfriend, our first dog, you always go where your heart tells you to go, and that it's not going to lie to you.
Yeah. And it's great. It's great because when it's all said and done, those are the kids that aren't transferring out. If you really do. Now that brings us to the elephant in the room of every school in the country right now. And that's transfer portal, NIL, tampering, all these things that are going on that are illegal, but I don't want to say illegal, but are a little not quite above board in my book. When I look at them, these kids, we talked a little bit about this, but Talk to me about what the transfer portal has done to you guys, because, you know, the word on the street out there is Division III is now the new junior college, right? Like, doesn't matter. You can go to a junior college, you can go to a Division III, you can go to a D2, and you get to transfer. It doesn't matter. So talk to me about like what that's done within your program over. It's been what, the last 3 or 4 years, right? And it's really started to affect a lot of Division III schools.
Man, I was close to getting out. I was like, I don't think I can do this. Like, I was against it. I was fired up. I was mad. And then talked to one of my buddies who's owns a recruiting service, and we just had a really long heart-to-heart talk. And he said, "Have you ever thought about just using it to your advantage?" And I'm like, it kind of, I don't know. I still was like, no, I can't, because it's, you know, I'm losing my number one pitcher who was 88 to 92, who was 10-1 with 110 strikeouts, and he's only a sophomore. So no, I'm not gonna adjust to it. I hate it.
Yeah.
And then I started thinking about it, and you know, this kid that I'm talking about is Trent Ash, great human. I love the kid. He's at Missouri State now. And he threw some pretty good innings for him last year, so you know, I'm happy for him. But after I sat down with him and had like a heart-to-heart with him and kind of just wanted to hear him out of what he wanted and what his dreams were, and I'm like, you know what, like, it's very selfish of me to take away his dreams. You know, like, I'm not going to lock this kid into my program because I'm selfish and I want a number one guy where I can sit on a bucket and not even worry about us winning or losing because I know we're going to win.
Yeah.
And then and again, it's a long story, but at the end of the day, I said, you know what, Trent, I'll help you anywhere you want to go. You're ready. Awesome. You've proven to me you're ready. And we talked about it at the beginning of the year. And then we said, once we talk about this, we're done. We're going out to try to win a championship. And at the end of the year, we lost in the regional. And we sat down and we had a heart-to-heart. And long story short, I was talking to, and again, with my connections with the Northwoods League for coaching there so long, I was talking to all these mid-major Division I's. I was taking phone calls from all these different powerhouses, and we finally found him a really good spot. And he loves it, and he's happy. And that kid was messaging me all the time. He was calling me all the time. He calls all of his teammates. So there's a fine line. Our big rule in our program is, if you're ready and you prove to me that, I don't like to use this word, but this level's getting bored for you, you're fine. And it's the same conversation I had with Xander Meisner, and it's the same conversation we had with our kid that's at Loyola Marymount and different things. And if our rule is, if you're ready to go, we'll send you on. And so I kind of embrace that and kind of use it as, and we use that in recruiting too. Like, hey, like, it would be one thing if we're just getting these kids in, but we're truly developing these kids. Trent Ash came into our program at 79 to 82 as a two-way. And he left our program at 88 to 92. Gavin Jacobson, who went to Loyola Marymount, he came into our program as a little skinny lefty throwing 79, and he left our program throwing 91. So, like, we're developing kids. We're getting them to where they need to be. And if at the end of the day, if they're in a spot where they have a chance to get a scholarship to play a dream of playing Division I or even pro ball, I'm not going to take that away.
Yeah, that's awesome, Coach, because there's a lot of coaches out there that don't have that. I mean, there's some mid-majors now even that are using that and saying, listen, if you come here and you do really well, we'll help you go on to, you know, I know Arkansas and other places, right? Like I think that's just part of what's happening, and coaches that embrace it. Again, this is part of your evolution, right? As a coach over the years, it's just, you got to keep doing it and you got to keep evolving. Coach,
but think about it, like, you know, like what we do for a living, like, it's counterproductive for us to say we want to hold somebody back. Like, we're in this business to watch kids chase their dreams.
Absolutely.
And so why would we try to squash that dream by saying, no, you're going to stay at Bethany and you're going to pitch 4 years? No, like, if you're good enough, then you're going to move on. That's fine. Like, it's part of the gig. Like, and the nice thing, like, to kind of piggyback off what you were talking about with the portal, is the nice thing is there is a portal, and we use it a lot, but we use it with kids that we have relationships somehow.
Yeah.
Josh Miller might know somebody's mom who knows somebody's kid, or it might be a kid that we recruit out of high school that went Division II. So we try to. I don't just go into the portal every morning like some of these coaches do and just start blind cold calling kids. Like, we try to really do our research, and it's helped us. Like, we've got a lot of really good kids in the portal, but it's kids that we try to have some sort of relationship with, or can build a relationship with.
Well, and that's a great point, because just because a kid's in the portal from a Division I doesn't mean he's a great fit for your program. And that's a key.
No.
I mean, I've watched it a lot over the years. A kid's been, like, I've seen kids transfer 4 times. So, like, it's and because they can't get along with a coach, they don't want to do what the coach asks them to do. They have their own hitting coach. They have their, whatever the reasons. You have to make sure that you're bringing in a guy who's been at a school for 2 years, is going to come in and help the culture, not hurt the culture. And I think that's what important, that you have a relationship with somebody that's in the portal already. All right, Coach.
That's one of my first sentences. I don't mean to interrupt you. That's one of my first sentences. Like, if you're not willing to fit into our family and be a good human, this isn't going to work. So I don't care how much you like it. We're not. We're just going to end it.
Yeah. Well, and that's exactly why you've been there for as long as you have. It's actually why you win. It's why you have great human beings playing for you, and great human beings that graduate from Bethany Lutheran, because it's not only a great school, but it's a great baseball program. And I've been a fan from afar. Obviously, I call you when I got a player. I will
Always.
text you out of the blue. I've got this kid who I think is first of all, great human being first. Number 2, he's been overlooked. I think I've used the word, you got to steal 3 times with you over the last 2 years.
You have,
because and they've worked out. And
you're 3 for 3. You're hitting 1,000.
Yeah. And again, I for me, I don't talk to coaches unless I know a kid can play there, or at least have an opportunity to play there and do well. Obviously, the kid's got to go and perform, and I think that's one of the things I tell every player that leaves my programs is, listen, you're in the door now, but now the hard work starts, and this is where you better go and be the person I said you are, number 1, because if you're not, then I've lost credibility with that coach. And number 2, be the person he wants you to be, and the player he wants you to be. And I think that's one of the things that is important for coaches, to be very clear with their players. So, all right, Coach, I got something for you. Little quick answers to get to know Ryan Kragh. Favorite baseball movie?
42.
Oh, love it. Favorite ballpark you've ever coached in?
Wow, that's a tough one. Corbett Field in Minot, North Dakota.
Oh, seen them online, seen the pictures online. Amazing, cool field. Really cool, weird layout,
Old school.
right?
Old school, weird layout.
Yeah. Favorite drill you use?
Action BP. And I'd have to go into detail of what it means, but by far the best. It's batting practice, but it's with defense, it's with runners, it's with situations. It is the most elite drill, and we do it all the time.
Awesome. I'm going to have to pick your brain on that one later. Best coaching advice you've ever received?
Be the best mentor you can possibly be every single day you come to the park.
That's awesome. Hardest part of being a college coach?
Seeing kids cry when it's over.
I love that one too. All right, this one's weird. Coffee or energy drink?
Coffee. I'm not an energy guy.
I'm not either.
Our kids drinking those monsters and stuff drives me insane. It's so stupid.
Here's what's funny is I'm not a coffee or energy drink guy, but I am a Coke guy. I'll drink some Cokes, which are good for you, I know.
I'm a Coke, but I'm a cold coffee guy. I'm drinking cold coffee right now.
Okay. All right. If you weren't coaching baseball, what would you be doing?
I would probably be working at a golf course, superintendent.
You and I, again, we're on the same page again, man. I could live my life. I get up early for 3 things. I get up early to go to church. I get up early to play golf, and I get up early to coach baseball. Those are the 3 things I can get up really early to do. When I
quit coaching the Moondogs a couple years back, I started working at a golf course. I started mowing fairways, and it was the best job I ever had in my life.
Oh God, that's awesome. I know so many coaches that are on the golf course just riding a mower and doing their thing in the off season. All right, before we let you go, Coach, one more piece of advice, Coach. What piece of advice would you give every young baseball player chasing their dream?
You know what? At the end of the day, our game is hard. It's demanding. It takes a lot, but just be a good human. Be willing to be coachable. Enjoy the ride. It doesn't last forever. I think that's the biggest thing. And I kind of told you in that question is like we were one run away from a College World Series this year, and to watch those kids just break down and hug each other and love each other and just be very emotional. Like it goes so fast. So every single time you have an opportunity to be in a uniform, to be in a practice uniform, whatever it is, don't take it for granted. Get to know everybody, get outside your bubble, and just, like I said, just love the journey, because the journey is one of the coolest journeys you'll ever go through. We had an alumni golf tournament yesterday, and all these baseball players came back. One of them had his 14-year-old son with, which is scary. And it's just the stories. Like we had one kid talking about a story from Vero Beach back in 2004. And like, they knew the exact lines of different things that happened in the cafeteria. And like, there's just such a journey that's so cool. And, you know, I would just tell every young kid to just enjoy that journey and just enjoy it.
All right, now I'm going to do a plug for your program, Coach, because I love your program. I love what you're doing. Guys, listen, if you're a ball player in high school and you're looking for a place to play and you're a great young man and you want to get the most out of your college career, at least take a look at Bethany Lutheran. Take a look at what they do. Take a look at Coach Kragh's history. Take a look at the school's history. Take a look at the program's history, because I don't think you can go wrong going to a place like Bethany Lutheran. Coach, thank you so much for taking the time. I know you're getting ready to go on a trip, and I know you sat down with me for about 45 minutes here, and just I appreciate your time. But more importantly, I appreciate what you do for young men. I appreciate who you are as a coach, and I appreciate that my players that have come and played for you have enjoyed their time playing college baseball, because that's not always the case. Thanks for being a guest with us today.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate everything you do, and you're one hell of a human being. And I hear the same things from our players that you had, and you know, that's one of the reasons why we kind of keep our recruiting circle small. And it's people like you that we know that we can trust, because you know they're creating really good humans. And like I said, I just appreciate. I'm super pumped for this next journey for you, because I think it's right up your wheelhouse. And I think you're going to kill it. So thank you so much for having me on. I could talk for another 3 hours. So thank you very much.
Awesome. All right, guys, that's Ryan Kragh with Bethany Lutheran College. I almost said high school again, Coach. Bethany Lutheran College. And thanks for being on the show. And guys, thanks for listening to the Scott Horn podcast. We'll be back with you again soon.